action.
Her journey has been amazing, from Maseno to the Amazon. And she believes to be a producer, you have to be a glutton for punishment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's none other than Lucy Mwangi. Well, thank you so much, Lucy, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So, you are a producer. How long have you been producing?
Independently, 14 years. Overall, as a producer, 22 years.
22 years?
Yes.
That's a long time.
It's a very long time. I think I should hang my boots now.
No, not yet. You're not done yet.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to become a producer? How did you get to start your journey as a producer?
I think I've always known that I wanted to be in media. When I went to university, I did a degree in communication and media, and I was more fascinated by what happens behind the scenes. So I got my internship at KTN. This was, I think, in 2002, and I was put in the production department. And I think I knew there and then this is exactly what I want to be doing.
When you were in KTN, after the internship, were you taken in? Were you absorbed in?
No, it didn't happen as easily as it sounds. Because I did my internship in 2002. I was a second year in Maseno University. So I did my compulsory 3 months. But then what I did is, like I said, I got there and I felt at home. I made sure that I made myself indisposable in that I needed the department to need me. So even when I went back to school, at the time I was production assistant and showrunner for a show that was called Who's Smarter Now. It was a game show, very old game show, but very interesting. So I was a runner on the show. Even when we were not now in production for the show for Who's Smarter Now, I tried to find my way around what else is coming in and how do I make them need me. And I did that until I graduated. And then when I finished uni, I sort of weaved myself in. I was not being paid. Even when they would call me to come and do the scorekeeping, I'd take the night bus from Maseno, I'd do the show, we'd record the entire weekend, and then take the night bus on Sunday back to school. They were not paying me, so the transport was on me, everything. But I was, one, trying to learn as much as I could and make sure that they notice that I am around and I'm a future investment. So even when I finished uni, I went back and it was 2 years later before I actually got a contract where they were paying me handsome fee of 7,000 shillings. But I knew what I wanted, so I stuck around.
Well, that's a true definition of kujituma.
Kabisa.
Iyo ni kujituma.
It was foolishness, but I am glad for foolishness.
Well, I mean, you're here.
Yeah.
You've done 3 amazing shows that have made their marks in the industry. Anti-Boss, Vashita, and Jorwa Uba.
Yeah.
Of the 3, which one do you think was the hardest or most work?
Someone is going to use this against me. I think parents have a favorite child as much as they would never admit it.
Yeah.
So the firstborn is usually a special one. So I would say Anti-Boss for me was a very special show because it's what opened doors for us. It was the hardest production we did, simply because we did not have a station that was waiting for this show. And it was the first time we were attempting to do drama. The company was just 2 years old then. We had tried to do a talk show. It did okay, but it didn't quite pull in the audiences. We did a travel show, but it ended up being a bit niche because not so many Kenyans at the time would spend on travel. So we spoke with someone, Dorothy Getuba. She's an amazing person then. She was doing a lot of dramas. Amazing person then and now. And she told us, so we went to get cancelled, like we want to try and start doing dramas. How do we get into it? And she sort of led us and guided us into what we needed to do. The challenge was, of course, the financing. So our company, like I said, was just 2 years old. There was myself and Eve D'Souza. We had quit our jobs. We had pulled our resources. We tried to do mentality. And now the drama, when we did the budgets, the math just wasn't going to work. So we ended up selling a lot of the things that we owned. We put in the little pension that we'd accumulated over the few years we'd been employed on the table. We borrowed from family a lot of credit card debt, and we were able to finance Anti-Boss. But I think maybe what worked was the bravery, or as someone said, the stupidity of it was we figured if we are going to do dramas, we are going all in. Yeah. So instead of doing a pilot episode, we did 26 episodes. Foolishness. But it was the only way the math would have mathed.
So you funded this pequeño, like you did that on your own?
Yeah.
How was that like?
It was insane. It was insanity because we loved the concept of house helps and the fact that it would be relatable, and we were really we really believed that this will be, you know, I think we all believe our production will be the game changer.
Of course.
Us guys believed it was the game changer. And so we decided it's either we go all in or all in, and that's what we did. So we got new talent. We were scouting local theaters to get guys who had not been on TV because maybe they would be more affordable. That at the time, Mnet was doing big budget productions. So all the big actors were making in so much money. There was no way we would have been able to afford them. So we went to theaters, we got new talent, and those are the guys now we started working with on Anti-Boss. And we did our 26 episodes, and now we started hawking them around to stations. We went to the first station, we never got a meeting. The second station we went to, the producer said that you've done 26 episodes. You ladies are either stupid or extremely bright. I've never forgotten. And even after saying that, she didn't take our show.
Oh.
And then we went to the third station, which was NTV. And I remember we had the meeting. We just got a meeting. It was a miracle because the person who gave us audience was someone I had worked with at KTN, and we had a fantastic working relationship. So on that account, we were able to get a meeting. We got in the boardroom and we said we have a show called Anti-Boss. That time we had a different name. We have this show and would like for you to watch an episode. And they said, okay, fine, you have our morning. And we played the first episode, and he asked, do you have another episode? And we said, we don't have 2, we have 26. And after that, they said, we'll sign you up for 52. And that was that. They just said, the only thing is you need to change that name. It sounds terrible.
Wow.
And that is how Anti-Boss got us into the industry, because now the next show was a spin-off from Anti-Boss. And now having done Anti-Boss and this spin-off and seeing that we had a thing for comedy, we were able to do comedy and do it well. That is how Njorowa Uba was born, because now we felt a bit more confident in what we'd be able to do.
Yeah, and both shows, I'll say personally, I love Njorowa Uba. I loved Anti-Boss, but I love Njorowa Uba.
Thank you.
So how did Vashita get to be done? How was it born?
Vashita was a character on Anti-Boss, like I mentioned. And for me, it was very interesting because I'd go on social media and I'd find the character of Vashita would get a very strong reaction from the audiences. Yeah. There were people who absolutely hated her, and it was hate with a passion. Like, I could not understand how you hate a character with this much passion. And those who loved Vashita loved her. Eve, who plays Vashita, would go into supermarkets or like a place where there are kids, and the kids loved. And she'd come to the office and ask me, Lucy, what is wrong with our kids? Because how do they love a character that is so crazy? And I think it was the childishness that was the character of Vashita that was relatable to those who liked. And I remember us having this conversation and saying to Eve, the fact that one character can draw such strong emotions, I think we are onto something. So we did a pilot, and we were calling it the Donovans then, and we took it to Showmax, and we pitched it to them, to Maisha Magic. At first, they were not very interested, but we were able to convince them. I mean, look at this character. Look at every Tuesday after Anti-Boss airs. Fine, there'll be conversation around Shiro because Shiro was loved. But look at the emotions that this character is able to draw from audiences. I think we're onto something. So now we built a world for Vashita and now just brought in the cultural elements. And I think that is what made the show what it was.
Wow, that's quite a journey. What does it take for one to be a producer?
Madness. Self-hate. It's a crazy word. I think it takes a lot of resilience. You get a lot of no's. My son just finished high school, so he's been working for me before he joins uni. And every time he'll come to the office, because we are not in production, he comes to the office, I'm working on something, and he's asking me, he's not supposed to call me mom at the office, but he'll ask me, Lucy, what are you working on? Like, you're always, I'm like, I'm pitching. I'm trying to come up with ideas. I'm sending out ideas. And a few weeks later, he'll ask me, so has anything come through? And I'm like, no, I got a rejection. I mean, it's constantly trying to push, constantly trying to create and putting your ideas and getting a no and trying to separate. They're not saying no to Lucy or to Moonbeam. They're saying no to this concept. They did not like it. So what else can I create? And then also, as we are working, the unfortunate thing with our industry right now is I don't even think we have an industry, really. We have a film sector because we have only one station or one person who is commissioning or licensing content in the country. So it's, I use this analogy a lot where we have a supermarket and the producers, we have our wares displayed inside this supermarket, and then we have this one station, and they come to this supermarket and they're looking at the one who is the prettiest or the one who looks more interesting, and they decide today Moonbeam, or tomorrow it's Fillet, and tomorrow it's Zebra. But then they tell Zebra, I don't have this. How much are you selling your wares? And Zebra has their unga there for 600 or whatever. And they're like, no, I have 300. Will you take it? And you have to take it because there's no other customer who's coming in this supermarket. This is the only person walking in through the door. So it's really, in a sense, disadvantaged. But that said, I would want to say we are, it's a good thing because what has happened is these guys have flooded the industry with content. So we have seen a lot of upcoming actors, producers, crew members, because if they're not spending, then it means the industry or the sector is more or less dead. So we may not be where we want. We may not be where we are aspiring to be. And we may not be there in a very long time. But at least there's work in the industry.
There's work in the industry. Yeah. That's true. So what's your approach when it comes to marketing your product?
For me, which is a bit naive, I rely a lot on on audience to push the show. I am 44, so I do not understand social media. Okay, I understand the basics that I can take a photo and post it, but I am not inclined. So I have not tapped into what social media can do when it comes to marketing and even creating content for social media. So I have left guys in the office to try and figure that for me, what is a behemoth. We will post our content on Facebook. We won't do ads. But we will find that once we post a clip that is interesting, because I believe I'm a very good storyteller. And that has helped on the shows that we do because I am very involved in the story process. So I will know, let's pick this scene, let's put it on Facebook. And in a few hours or 2 days, we find that we have like 800 views on a clip, 800,000 views on a certain clip. And then we find on the comments, so we engage with the audience and they're tagging each other, they're sharing this. And sometimes I find a clip finds me on WhatsApp in a random group, maybe in my high school group, and no one knows that I am a producer, and someone from Canada has shared a clip from Joroa Uber. So we rely a lot on the audience.
So do you think producers do enough in terms of the marketing budget?
No, we don't.
Yeah?
No, we don't.
So is that something that needs to change?
Definitely, because you find that the marketing budget ideally should be even more than the production budget. Yes. But for us producers, we are looking at everything but the marketing aspect. And there's a film that came out not too long ago, and I only found about it when they released the trailer a week to the premiere. So we are failing ourselves as filmmakers, myself included, because you see where in Hollywood or in other industries, when they're doing the production, they're already marketing, they're creating videos, they're sending out teasers. So you top of mind, you know there's something that we're looking forward to next year. They already started creating the hype. So we are not doing anything to market our content, and it has completely limited us in what we're able to do.
Do you think it's also a client problem? Because I have been on sets where we are told, do not take pictures, do not talk about this, do not until premiere. But I'm like, I agree with you because it beats the whole aspect of people need to know what's happening. We need to start talking about this so that we start building numbers and eyeballs early enough. Yes. So if you start talking about something that's going to start airing in, say, June, start talking about it now.
Yeah.
Like hype it just a little bit. Hata kama ni BTS kidogo.
It's true.
You know, cooking something, just a few photos on set. That's part of marketing, yeah?
It is. And
but is it a client problem, maybe?
It depends, because now we'll say it's a client problem if it's a commissioned show and the client has the rights. So they definitely have their marketing department and they have a whole marketing plan around them. Maybe that works for them. But as an independent producer or as a filmmaker, if you're creating content for yourself, then it makes sense for us to start doing the marketing immediately. Immediately you have that idea. So the only way we are figuring that we'll be able to create content for ourselves, leave alone what we are being commissioned to do, is through collaborations. So there's something we are working with two other producers. One is fantastic at marketing and has the numbers, and one is strong at distribution, and they have the right networks, the right people to speak to when it comes to distribution. I am strong in story. So we have assigned ourselves different roles based on our strengths, and already we are in the conversation stages of what story are we telling. And when we have those meetings, we are taking photos. So the minute we have the paperwork signed of the collaboration, we start posting. We are 3 strong producers. So creating the hype, what could we be working on? You know what I mean? So start creating what are these people working on? Are you talking to the distributor for the distributor to tell you what content people are looking for? It's working now backwards and now creating story based on what it is the market feels the audience wants to watch.
So what are some of the challenges that you face as a producer when it comes to budget restrictions and scheduling and beating deadlines?
I bulk shoot so that the production makes sense. The budgets are really tight. So what I request the client is, anytime we're going into production, give me a 5-month heads up. In those 5 months, I meet with writers, and every month we are churning out 13 episodes. So we do our story workshops. They go right, and then we have a read through. We lock the scripts. That's 1 season done. Then we meet like that until month 4 when I have all 52 episodes. So pre-production for me is the only way that I'm able to save or work with the budgets that we are provided, because that will inform how I prepare my schedules. And then now when I go to to my actors, and I have the same, more or less, actors that I use. Again, we've been accused of incest in the industry, but as a producer, you understand why you fall back on the same people. I go and tell them, I can only afford to pay you this much, but I will only need you 2 days of the week. Is that okay? And the other 6 days of the week, the other 4 days, you can be in any other production. And I want you to give me your production schedule on the other set in advance, and then let me work around it. So I am not restricting the actor. They're able to do other jobs, except for a show like Njoro Uba, where now Njoro has to be there every day. So the actor is able to work within the budget that I have, because then they are at liberty to work on other productions.
Okay. How do you feel about mentorship?
For me, mentorship means you reach out to me, and I have people who reach out to me and say, Lucy, I want to come and be on your production set and see how things work and how you work. And I will tell you, come. But I will not sit down with you and explain to you, Koi, in life. No. I don't know if you can call now this, but it has to be very hands-on. See what time I come to work. If I have a production, I'll be the first one on set, or one of the first people to be on set. I'll be the last person to leave set when everyone has taken if you're working late, people are in Ubers, they've gone home. If you're wrapping at 7:30, I am right behind you. So how do I work as a producer? You can learn more by seeing how the set is run. How do we treat cast? How do we treat crew? How do we speak with the people when we are out on locations? For me, that is mentorship, not really having coffee and me telling you my life story, because I have a very boring life.
So did you ever have a mentor at one point in your career?
I have the person who got me in the industry, who really gave me my first opportunity. This was at KTN. So a friend of a friend of a friend was able to get me an internship. And the fact that he really believed and called me out. He was a news director at the time. I was an assistant, just handing out scripts and running orders for the news bulletins. And then I said, I'm interested in trying to understand how live directing works. And so I started, he told me, shadow me, same thing, follow me. And I would follow him around everywhere. And one time he allowed me to direct a news highlight. It was a mess. And it was a live news highlight. And he got into so much trouble. But he took the fall. And I did not know whether I should show up to work the next day. But he told me, come. And he let me direct another news highlight. News highlights are the highlights that come before the bulletin.
Yeah.
And slowly by slowly, he allowed me, gave me more leeway until I was comfortable now. And then he would give me a small bulletin, like a 4 p.m. bulletin, direct this. He would shadow me. So he allowed me to learn, and he would take the fall for all the mistakes I would make.
When you talk about risks, what do you consider when you're hiring?
Discipline. Like I said, our budgets don't give us the luxury of being in production for 6 months to shoot 5 episodes. We do not have that. So for me, when I'm hiring, I will call up someone and ask, you've worked with this person on set. Do they keep time? Do they show up? Discipline for me is really key. And it's fortunate or unfortunate, but I work with the same people. The people I worked with on Antiboss in 2013 and the people I'm working with on Jorauba in 2024, because they understand how we work. They understand maybe the company, basically how we operate.
Let's talk about actors, managers, and agents.
I have a wound, but go on.
What has been your experience? Yes.
Like I said, I've worked with the same people since 2013. And I find that even along the way, if some of those people picked managers, they still directly deal with me and I will still approach them directly. So there was never room, for the most part, where there was an intermediary who's not a manager. If it comes to contracting, we'll give you the contract, take it to your lawyer, discuss then, raise issues if there are any with us. But there was no manager. So this is until very recently when you find that now a lot more new actors are coming with managers on board. And it makes sense. You want someone who has your best interest at heart. But I feel there's a disconnect between some of the managers and understanding the industry, that the sector that we are working in.
Yeah.
Because when maybe a manager comes and these are the bare minimum that they want for their client. I mean, I respect that, but this is my reality. So I will move on to the next person. And there's a manager who has been an actor and a producer. And that is someone I am happy to engage with, because there was last year I was filming something and one of my actors had onboarded him as a manager. I was still dealing directly with the actor because I had engaged him when the manager was not in the picture. But now I had to work with the manager because he was on 3 other productions. So the interaction with me and the manager was more for how do we schedule this so that there's no conflict. And it was a fantastic working experience, because even on the day when there was a clash and this actor is late coming to set, I would call the manager and I'd be like, imagine, I'm not laughing. And he would put his actor. You understand? So it was a nice experience working with that person. And even the actors now who are coming through him, I have no problem, because this is someone who understands the industry. Having been an actor, having been a producer, he has won all the hearts. So he's reasonable. And he understands that we have productions that have this budget and we have productions that have this budget. So it's going back to the actor and saying, this production is here. So are you willing to compromise? No, it's fine. Then let's wait for 4 years for this one to come, and then now we can have a conversation.
What we need at the moment is managers who understand what production is.
Production and the reality of the industry.
Of the sector.
If we can print that analogy of the supermarket.
Yeah.
Because we have, people will say we have Netflix, but how many shows has Netflix commissioned? None. There's no commission from Netflix. What they've worked on are pre-licenses. So they are not really spending money in this market because they don't have the numbers. We need people who understand where we are at, because we are very small in the bigger scheme of everything.
Currently, I know we have a sector. What do you think can be done, or we can do? What part can we play to transform it into an industry?
I think understanding that no one is coming to save us and no one is going to create this industry for us. It's us who are already there to try and figure out how do we call the shots, as opposed to know where we are sitting back and someone else is calling the shots. One way, like I mentioned, is collaborations. So working together, and the beauty with collaborations is Lucy Mwangi has lights. Maybe Philip Karanja has a good relationship with actors, and and writers. And then maybe we have Ruben Odanga, who has all the equipment we need in this industry. So how are we going to leverage on that? So Ruben brings in this, Phil brings this, and I bring this. And we do a production. So a production that we would need to be about maybe 5-10 million liquid. We only need maybe 3 because we just need to cover the overheads. And we are able to put our resources together and we do a production and then go to a distributor and say, this is what we have and this is how much we are selling it for. So they're not coming to us and telling us that we will give you this much and this is take it or leave it. Mm-hmm. We have done, and we have a proven track record of having done shows that have worked. So this is the film. Hatukuombi pesa ya cinema, tushafanya. So are you taking it or do I take it to the next person? Do I take it to the next person? So it's taking agency back to ourselves as an industry. And the only way to do that is to collaborate, because I doubt anyone has 8 million sitting somewhere. Or first of all, people do not understand how we make money as filmmakers. So we will not go to a bank and tell a bank, I have an idea. Call security. Please show this woman out.
Yeah.
So it's us now to take charge of the industry, collaborate, and now be at a point where we are asking for what we are worth. Because when you go home in the evening, when you hold your phone, what are you looking at? You're watching content. Yeah. I mean, can we pay these people who are creating this content?
This is very true. Mm-hmm. Wow, well, this has been amazing. But we have a tradition here that before we finish up, we need to play a game.
Oh, dear.
Here we have a box of questions where you get to pick 3 random questions. If any of those questions you cannot answer, tunakupiga fine. Fine ya 200. It's going to buy someone lunch somewhere out there. So yes, this is our box of questions. Pick any 3 random questions. Read them out loud and answer.
Koy, I can be your mom, so be kind. Let's see. What was the most awesome excuse you've ever made to get out of something? I've thought about the true answers. Yes, December. We shall buy lunch.
Okay, sawa. 200. Next.
Am I allowed to lie?
No, but we wouldn't know. But no, you're not allowed to lie.
Okay, so what's the one thing you could change about yourself? Oh my God, I should learn to listen. I wish I could listen without already giving you an answer to whatever it is that someone is sharing. I wish I could listen better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're aware.
I am aware.
Good.
I have been made aware.
You've been made aware?
Yes.
All right.
Let's pick from here. If you were to walk in a room with all the people you know, who would you look for? So I've walked into a room and I know everyone.
Everyone, but who would you be like? Nani yako hapa?
Nene.
Oh.
Brian Munene is a writer, director. He has awesome energy.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. That's true. So I would look out for Nene in that room.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It's been amazing, and I know you're coming back.
Thank you for having me, Koi. This was fun.
It was. Yeah. It really was.
Thank
you so much
I'm glad I heeded the call.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's such an honor. Thank you so much. This has been Real Talk. We have had Lucy Mwangi with us. And until next time.